one of the things as a real estate agent that I found is if we're listing properties, we're always looking. This is why it's so important to get pre-qualified before you even make that offer.
Yes.
And it's so difficult at times to get people to, they think, well, I'll just make an offer for the house, then I'll get qualified. And, sometimes it's difficult to sort of get that through to people, to get them to understand. But it's so important that they're qualified for that loan, because we've had offers where people are waiving the appraisal, people are putting extra cash down, even, in the wholesaling world. And, we spoke about this, William, that people are putting wholesaling deals, and traditionally, they try to buy like 50%. Will buy, and they're not buying the property, they're just buying a financial interest in the property and then selling it on. Which, I've got very hard feelings on that. I think it needs to be sort of outlawed, but it happens. But the truth of the matter is, some of the cash portions that we've seen making offers at the moment, especially when we're listing a property, have just been, we've never seen it before. Right. We've never seen this reaction to the market. And that's when people say, oh, there's going to be a crash, and there's going to be a crash at the end of 2000. I just can't see it, because it's like all of a sudden all this cash is appearing everywhere. The only similarity that I see between early 2000 foreclosures and basically the market now, the only similarity that I see is when we had them foreclosures in 2000, people were selling their cats, their dogs, and anything they could sell, just to get that cash to buy a property, because it was instant equity on the property. Right. And they knew it was going to go up. But even now, the amount of cash that seems to be coming through the woodwork when people are making offers, and if you've got 20 offers on a property, then it's the terms to that you're really looking for. They're waiving the appraisal. Well, if you're waiving the appraisal, you better have a good agent. You better have a good agent to know that they can negotiate, and you're really not, offering too much. Because the thing is, with residential real estate, it can be it can be a very emotional process. So from that point, it's real interesting. But there's a lot of new developments going up in the Houston area, which I think is encouraging. But at the moment, there's a definite lack of inventory. And the other part that's interesting is, traditionally in Houston, the sweet spot when you buy a house has been, like 3 years ago, it was 245. 2 years ago, it might have gone up to 265. And then it's gone up to 285. Now the sweet spot really is anything from maybe 110 up to, 325, would you say, James?
Yeah.
But now we're even getting multiple offers on $1 million homes, and we're getting multiple offers. That one we had for 120 offers in the week, out in the Galleria, 120 offers on the property was $450,000.
Yeah.
And it wasn't in good condition. It wasn't as if it was in great condition. It needed work.
The jumbo market, which of course it's moved more than it ever has here past, where it was anything years ago over 417,000. That market is slow. It just didn't. You didn't get multiple offers. It was unheard of to get multiple offers on that. But now, man, you see that, and then it's up to 548, which is the max down. So it's crazy to see homes that much having multiple offers. Where are people getting this money from? Where's the money coming from? It's great. Especially for those agents that are listing those properties, but it's definitely a different type of market. It just looks completely different than in 2008, which is why, for me, I don't feel like the environment's the same for a quote unquote crash. Now, I'm just a little old me, so I don't have a crystal ball, but I'm hopeful, and I'm optimistic about where we're headed for this. So I'm excited to see what's happening.
Do you think the market's going to take like this for a couple of years or so?
Yeah.
How often do you see the market continuing like this?
I would stretch to say at least for the next 2 or 3 years.
Yeah, that's what I see it. I really do. That's honestly what I see. We're getting people. We had a call the other day. Somebody moved from Canada that wants to move to Houston. One of our agents is working with somebody at the moment. They're moving from Mexico. A vice president of a company moving into Houston, and they can't find a market in the $600,000.
Wow.
They can't find a house. You know, he's working downtown and he's looking for something in the area, and he's not able to find a house.
And on the whole, the real estate in Texas has been fairly inexpensive in comparison to the other parts of the country. So you got folks moving from like the West Coast, California,
Oh,
and
yeah.
they're selling those homes, and they're coming here and like, well, shoot, I could buy 2 of these.
Exactly.
You know,
Right.
so they got all this
And-
money to put down.
And I think that's one of the things that are happening. That's where a lot of cash offers are
Right.
on place most of the time, because they get their equity from properties of $1 million and then they come here and buy a $250,000 home, which is a lot better than what they had over there.
Yeah, I'm convinced that was part of the whole Tesla thing with them moving over to Austin, though, because you know what they can do. I mean, a house in San Francisco is like 1.5 million, you know, for a 3-bedroom, 2-bath or whatever. And if they move to Austin, I mean, you could buy a huge house for 1.5 million.
Right.
You know, I mean, you could, you know, I mean, you really could, and you're saving money, and the cost of living's not as much, and everything else. We've just had somebody I've known for a long time. They'd retired over in Florida, and the first thing they said was they couldn't believe how much gas was over there. They couldn't believe how much it was to live in Florida.
Right.
You know, I think Houston's been very, and the Texas market as a whole has been. You know, our prices really haven't gone up a lot. I think we're in a multiple offer situation, but they haven't really gone up a lot compared to some other states.
Absolutely. We haven't. We've been fairly stable, I would
So if the
say.
prices ever come down, they're not
Yeah.
going to come down as much.
Yeah, right. And then we'll by that time we'll be used to it, and we'll say, "Oh, that's a deal."
Yeah.
But it'll still be, you know, over the whole thing, kind of high. But nevertheless, it's I think we stand to make a good living moving forward with it for the next few years with this. So we got to make hay. We definitely got to make hay.
Make hay while the sun shines.